text. Text in Photoshop, along with layers, as we saw recently in the last video, that when we create text in our project, it'll automatically create a text layer, which is very nice. So let's do this again. We're going to try a different font this time. Let's try Cable Black, and we're going to pick red. So we have some property inspector type of situations here: font, size, weight, color. So let's go ahead and click, and we're going to type Photoshop. Okay. So let's move Photoshop out here, and you can see that we have it. We have a lot more controls with text than you think. Photoshop didn't used to always be great with text. It was a selection, and you filled it, and it was done. Bang. Not good. Now text in Photoshop is all vector based until you finalize it or rasterize it. So if we type something out, also want to show you that we have a window. We have, where is it? See, I never go here, character. I never go here because I always have it out. So here's our character palette, and we're going to close this one. Here we go. Character palette. We have kerning, we have leading, we have percentage, we have drop or baseline drop. Right now it's set at -50 on the kerning, so let's open that up to a regular 0 just to show you. We also have all the other stuff that's going on here: strike through, underline, all caps, small caps, sub, set, stuff like that. We also have some really good, we have options with glyphs in Photoshop, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we can take this text, and if we come over here and we highlight that text, up and along the top we have the text warp tool. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to bring up the text warp. And in the text warp tool, we can come in here and we can say, oh, we'd like to arc that text and change the arc of it. We'd like to flag wave it. We'd like to fish it, which is kind of goofy, but you know, inflate. All want to bend it the other way. If we want to distort it on the ends. If we want to distort it on the bottom or the top. We can say OK. There we go. And we can come in here, and we now have Photoshop bent like this. We can also apply a bevel and emboss to that text. And I try doing this so that it's not so crazy here. Smooth, emboss. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay, so look, we have an emboss type. Let's even put drop shadow on it. And do you notice that when we move the drop shadow on this text, it's moving the drop shadow and the highlights on the swirly thing, because they're all using global light right here, global light. If we want, we can turn off the global light, and that allows us to do just one, do the lighting or the shadow effect on this text. So if you don't, you know, there might be multiple light sources, or you need to have the text have a greater, deeper drop shadow than something else, you just turn off global light and you're all set. But the other case is if you use global light and you have a whole lot of text in here, and your client comes in and says, okay, Eric, I need you to I don't like the light source coming from the top right, I need it to come from the top left. I know I approved it, but you know, can I change it? Yeah, well, now I'm going to have to charge you. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change it on one, and as long as global light is on, it's going to change it on all of them, and I'm going to be done. So again, here we've got a text warp on this text. We've got some things going on here, but check it out. I can still come in here and I can change this. I can say OK. And everything is editable until I come over here and I can control click on rasterize type, and what that does is it's going to rasterize it. Notice the T goes away, so now that is not sizable, it's not vector anymore. Still keeps all the effects because it's applied, the effects are applied to the layer and not to the text really. But you have to be aware of that. And there's certain things that you can't do with it as text. So I'm going to undo that so it's still text. But there's certain filters, certain things you can't do to text layers. And it'll tell you, hey, if you want to do this, it's going to give you a pop-up warning that if you go to do this, it has to be rendered first. Would you like to render the text? It's pretty good and gives you fair warning. But that's layers in a nutshell. We're going to get deep into layers and some of the things we can do, some of the other things, some of the adjustment layers and layer masks and stuff like that as we go further. But layers are so much power, they're so much fun, and you can't do Photoshop without it. Well, you can, but man, would it be tough.